there. Is it some modulation?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit of Earth, Wind, and Fire in there.
Yes, it was. I loved it. Little callback. Oh, thank you, Renee. Let's shower Renee with some love. Let's receive this blessing, remembering it's so important to have this reciprocity flow and to recognize that it's happening, to be intentional, to be conscious to this moment. And so as we sit just for a moment now, my friends, let us just go step by step as we have convened. You know, if you were here and we watched some of these music videos, and then we entered this time at 6 p.m. in Pacific time, and all that we've already experienced together already this evening, and the people, you, to make this happen, let us never lose sight of what is happening and the love, remembering love as this powerful force and energy, that this love that has been created already this evening. And so we're going to go even higher with it now as you ground, as we ground and feel good and strong in our bodies. So always remembering that there is that reminder that there is a grounding cord. You can even imagine your feet growing roots. And as we are in this grounding force, there is also an upward movement, an upward motion into that exalted love that we have been talking about for the last several weeks. We are in the hope cycle. And the hope cycle, if you are new, and even if you are not new, the hope cycle is a 7-stage process. It is a 7-stage journey. It is an initiation. And it is a conscious one. It is a conscious one at that. The stage 7 of love that we are currently in, remembering all that came before and that we began 20 some weeks ago. That's how many sermons. We're on the 21st sermon. I'm not tired. I'm not tired. It's just getting good. We're going to go to 23. But we began in the desert, in the dark night of the soul. And that was the first stage of hope. We came upon in the desert, as we crawled on the hands and knees, we came upon a candle. And this candle was a simple reminder saying, you're alive. That was it. It was not a promise of anything more other than saying that we are alive. And in order to move forward to the next stage, we had to make a conscious choice to see the candle, to go, yes, I am alive. And from there, we moved into the second stage of curiosity, where we began to muse on this candle a bit more. We had not risen to our feet yet. No, we were still on our hands and knees on the desert floor, but looking at this candle and thinking, what if? That was the statement that went along to the second stage of curiosity. What if? And I said to you, what if your life could be different? What if this world could be different? See, it was a call rising within us, not saying it is yet, not saying I believe that this could happen, but just the idea, what if? What if my life could be different? What if I didn't have to be in pain? What if I didn't have to be reminded of my traumas? What if this world, what if this world can exist without policing, without the prison industrial complex, without the military industrial complex, these big, supposedly grand notions? What if it became that entertainment? And then the third stage, we consciously chose again to go to the third stage of wonder. And wonder was saying, I believe. I believe. And with this idea of believing, we were able to come up, rise to our feet, and leave the desert behind. Remember, we ran. We began as if with benumbed legs. I said it like that. As if with benumbed legs, we began to walk and then to run. And we saw just in the distance a waterfall. It's beautiful. I hope you can imagine this, see this in your mind's eye, feel it. Maybe don't think about it, just feel this and see it. And we saw this waterfall and we took respite there and we swam and we basked, and it was a very different energy, because an energy that we are often occluded from, because this was the divine feminine holding us and reminding us, oh, you're okay, sweetheart. You're here now. Let me take good care of you. See the pushback from the patriarchy. This was all of that divine, glorious feminine. And we took, like I said, refuge there and respite. But as with all things, we had to again make the conscious choice, and we were called out of the water. We had to leave this waterfall. And so from that stage of wonder, the third stage, we went into a very different energy. It was the fourth stage of exploration. And this was the jungle. And imagine chaos. And taking a machete and having to chop down those places of violence. And I talked about the violent systems and the structures. And so we had to be bold and to take this machete and to push maybe back the foliage, and to be able to see clearer, to see clearly. Again, consciously choosing to do this, not by happenstance, not by, oh, somehow I ended up here. No, all of this, a conscious choice. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a moment. Hold on. So we made it through this jungle. And when we got out of the jungle, do you remember what we saw? We saw a cave. And we heard the voice, maybe for some here of God, maybe love, maybe your higher self. But that voice said, come, be with me. And initially it was hard to make that conscious choice to go in. It was a big bellow, come, be with me. And we took all that we had learned from the previous stages, the hope, the curiosity, the wonder, the exploration, and imagined in a knapsack, heaving it on to the cave floor and sitting there, the sacred flame, and sitting there and grieving. Oh, grief and praise. Grief and praise. Think about that. It wasn't all just grief. There was praise there too. And we got so into this cave, my friends, that we didn't want to leave. We went in thinking, think about this in your life, how there's certain things that maybe you resisted. And then all of a sudden you went, oh, I don't know if I really want this to go away now. I think I'm good. I think I'm good here. And that's exactly what happened in the cave. It became this cave that used to startle me, this cave that was foreboding, as caves can be. Now I want to stay here. But as with life, we had to go. And so we left the cave, and that's when we met a guide. And that guide, that wayshower at the opening of the cave, said, "Do you believe? Do you believe?" And this was all about the knowing. We went into the 6th stage of belief. Churn and burn. I didn't say the name of the stage for the cave. Churn and burn, my friends. 5th stage. So the 6th stage of belief was all about our knowing. And this was some upper level stuff. This was some upper level stuff because I believe firmly that there are places within us that know things, and that through societal structures and harmful socialization and the violence and the isms and the phobias, not to mention if you believe in past lives and anything that you might be bringing through this lifetime, or just say your childhood and things you have experienced, that there are parts of us that have denied our knowing. And I said, it ends now. We unsubscribe from violence, and we will not deny our knowing. We will not gaslight ourselves, and we will not gaslight anyone else. This was an emphatic claim in this stage of believe and knowing. And so we returned to this. We embraced it. I pray that you were able to answer emphatically to that, do you believe, and say, yes, I do. I believe. The 7th stage, we left our guide, and we see this mountain. And imagine now with me this mountain, and going up the mountain. And you recall I said last time that it is not what I used to teach, that this time round I realized we need all the help we can get. We need all the guides. We need all our communities. We need all our ancestors. We need everything that we believe in that is good and holy. And so what happened? A hand reaching down as we are trying to make that ascension back to love, a hand reaching down. See, we're not in this, we are in this together. The lie is that we are alone. The journey, the process, the initiation in this hope cycle, this is our journey. Now, there are places in this life, my friends, and you know, sometimes there's those times at 3 a.m. and it's like there is no one that you feel you could call that would get it, right? It could be anything, you know, and it feels so massively like, oh, the isolation, oh, the loneliness. But see, this reminder, these conscious choices from hope to curiosity, to wonder, to exploration, to churn and burn, to believe, and now into love, this is a conscious choice saying yes to life. That's what I was going to say before that I held off on. Saying yes to life. I pray that we all say an emphatic yes to life. And an emphatic yes to love. And not the love that we were often indoctrinated in or with, that is limiting, but the love of sages, the love of God, the highest love, the love that's in the upper room, the love in the realms that we can't even maybe speak of, that we may not even understand. This love, remember what I told you last time, this love includes reciprocity. This love includes justice. This love includes accountability. This love includes, yes, compassion in high degrees that leads to what? Understanding. See, this love, my friends, isn't, please don't take offense for those that may, okay, I'll just say it. It's not solely about patient and kind and love being unconditional. Those are, I believe, potentially harmful tropes that set us up. That set us up for failure, that also that make us, I believe, afraid. See, we have to be like what David was speaking to around the vision of abolition. We have to expand out even more. See, and the hope cycle provides that step by step by step by step. As we consciously choose to move forward in our lives and to choose life and to choose love, we expand our vision. We expand and we move away from what we think we know into where we need to go. And in a time such as this, and a year into this pandemic, a year after Breonna Taylor was murdered in her sleep, when children and families are seeking asylum, when anyone is under threat and attack, and that may be you, we must consciously choose to expand our thinking and just say yes, a conscious choice to life and a conscious choice to love. So let us see anew. I wasn't going to say any of that. I have a whole thing right here. But Renee started it. So I'm going to say this, and then I don't want to keep us too long because I don't want to blow out anyone's bandwidth, and I get very expansive. This is what I want to offer to you tonight, as we just moved from that this last piece I just spoke to. If you had a week to live, if you had 1 week left to live, what would you do differently? The things that people wrote on Facebook about love blocking them, the pain that blocks them from love, the trauma that blocks them from love, the ancestral wounding that blocks them from love, the scars that blocks them from love. Would it matter if you had 1 week left to live and love, to consciously live and love? How would life look different? Would there be that fear? Would there be that the defenses? And this is not to judge how we often interact in the world. No, it's not. But it is to lift up a point, because a year ago, when we were just entering this pandemic, right literally around this time, something very curious happened. The world stopped. You could feel the palpable energy of fear. And we were humbled into submission in a way that I personally never had seen. And there's a lot that really didn't matter anymore, wasn't there? There was a whole callback, of things becoming right-sized, things sort of sloughing off. See, that's what fear of death and dying can do. I worked as a chaplain in the hospital for a long time in oncology, and I got to see that. I got to learn from people that had a very difficult prognosis. And death and dying can inform that. And so that's what I want to offer today. If we had 1 week, and that was going to be it. I know it's a heavy thing to bring in death right now, but it's to talk about death in the way of rebirth and death in the way of creation. Death creates focus. Death creates space. Death creates visionary mindset. When the chips are down, there is a certain single-minded focus. There's intention if we choose again. When the chips are down, as they were a year ago, and maybe in your life, if you are dealing with something very hard in death and dying, there is, if we choose, a certain space that lifts us because we realize that stuff doesn't really matter. And if we avail ourselves, and one more, forgive me, when the chips are down and there is that moment with death and dying, this, what I began to call last night, this, when I was musing on this, a philosophy of death, there is the opportunity to expand even further, as I was sharing earlier. There is this opportunity to use one's prophetic voice to create change in the world. But we have to choose it. See, death creates. Death can lead to creation. If we had 1 week, my friends, would those fears, and maybe some of you here don't live like that anyway, but I've seen this a lot, and I've seen how the walls that kind of came down about a year ago, and the more connections that were happening, the connectivity started slipping, and people started kind of putting those bricks back up and back up. And I don't know about you, but we cannot afford to do that. We can't afford to do it. We have to stay in, and that is a courageous move. It's a courageous move. This life is hard. You know, this is, yeah, life is beautiful, but life is also very hard. But we can choose, we can consciously choose, A, to live, and B, to love. Maybe not necessarily in that order. I want us all to really ponder this. I'm going to ponder this. I pray that you will too. If we had 1 week, how would we position ourselves? Would anything look different? Would our love be that much more bold? Would we move and groove with people in a way that people went, whoa, what's going on there? Wow, I don't feel any defense there. And mind you, there is mastery and there is wisdom when it comes to bringing this love. Because we don't want to just open up like this. Then you'll get hurt and then people won't believe in the power of love. But this is absolutely related to our work as justice makers and change agents. So let's ponder that. I'm going to leave it right here. I am grateful for these times of Holy Communion that we get to have together, my friends. and take all of this energy, all of the different pieces you have received tonight, take all of these healing components from everyone that has touched in and spoken, and truly use this, utilize this as a balm, a healing balm, and reckon with it as we go through this week. This is the revolution of love, and we get to create it consciously every day and every moment. God bless you so very much, and love you from the highest place. Let us turn within. We will have a moment now for prayers.